Welcome, friends. A very warm welcome in the beautiful world of biology. In today's audio session, we are going to hear a complete chapter of plant kingdom. Let's see what points we are going to discuss in this topic. The first one is algae, second one Bryophyte, Pteridophyte, Gymnosperm, and Angiosperm. Okay, let's start the chapter. In the previous chapter, we looked at the broad classification of living organism under the system proposed by Whitaker in the year of 1969, where he suggested the five kingdom classification that are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. In this chapter, we will deal in detail with the further classification within kingdom Plantae, popularly known as the plant kingdom. We must stress here that our understanding of plant kingdom has changed over time. Fungi and members of Monera and Protista having cell wall have now been excluded from Plantae, though earlier classification placed them in the same kingdom. So the cyanobacteria that are also referred to as blue-green algae are not algae anymore. In this chapter, we will describe algae, bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperm, angiosperm under kingdom Plantae. Let us also look at classification within angiosperm to understand some of the concerns that influence the classification system. The earliest system of classification used only gross superficial morphological characters such as habit, color, number, and shape of leaves. They were based mainly on vegetative characters or on the androecium structure. Such systems were artificial. They separated the closely related species since they were based on a few characteristics. Also, the artificial system gives equal weightage to vegetative and sexual characteristics. This is not acceptable since we know that often the vegetative characters are more easily affected by environment. As against this natural classification system developed which were based on natural affinities among the organisms and consider not only the external feature but also internal feature like ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology, and phytochemistry. Such as classification for flowering plants was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. Underline it. At present, phylogenetic classification system based on evolutionary relationship between the various organisms are acceptable. This assumes that organisms belonging to the same taxa have common ancestor. We now use information from many other sources to help resolve difficulties in classification. This becomes more important when there is no supporting fossil evidences. Numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using computer, is based on all observable characteristics. Number and codes are assigned to all the characters and the data are then processed. In this way, each character is given equal importance and at the same time hundreds of characters can be considered. Cytotaxonomy that is based on cytological informations like chromosome, number, structure, behavior, and chemotaxonomy that uses the chemical constituents of the plant to resolve confusion are also used by taxonomists in these days. Let's discuss first point that is algae. Algae are chlorophyll bearing, simple, thyroid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic, that is both freshwater and marine. They occur in a variety of other habitats, moist stones, soils, and wood. Some of them also occurs in association with fungi, lichen, and animals on sloth beer. The form and size of algae is highly variable, ranging from colonial form like volvax and filamentous form like erythrix and spirogyra. A few of the marine forms, such as caves, form massive plant bodies. The algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual, and sexual methods. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. Each fragment develops into a thallus. Asexual reproduction is by the production of different types of spore, the most common being the zoospores. They are flagellated, motile, and on germination give rise to new plant. Sexual reproduction takes place through the fusion of two gametes. These gametes can be flagellated and similar in size as in Eulothrix or non-flagellated, non-motile but similar in size as in Spirogyra. Such reproduction is called isogamous. Fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size as in species of Eudorina is termed as anisogamous. Fusion between one large non-motile static female gamete and a smaller motile male gamete is termed as oogamous. Example, volvax and fucus. Algae are useful to man in a variety of ways. At least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. Being photosynthetic, they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. They are of paramount importance as primary producers of energy rich compounds which form the basis of food cycles of all aquatic animals. Many species of Porphyra, Laminaria, and Sargassum are among 17 species of marine algae used as food. Certain marine brown and red algae produce large amount of hydrocolloids, water holding substances, example algin, brown algae, kerosene, red algae, which are used commercially. Agar, one of the commercial products obtained from Gracilaria and Gelidium, are used to grow microbes and in preparation of ice creams and jelly. Chlorella, a unicellular alga rich in protein, is used as food supplement even by space travelers. The algae are divided into three main classes. First one is chlorophyceae, second one phaeophyceae, and third one is called rhodophyceae. Chlorophyceae. The members of chlorophyceae are commonly called green algae. The plant body may be unicellular, colonial, filamentous. They are usually grass green due to dominance of pigment chlorophyll A and B. The pigments are localized in definite chloroplast. The chloroplast may be discoid, plate-like, reticulate, curve-shaped, spiral, ribbon-shaped in different species. Most of the members have one or more storage body called pyronoids located in the chloroplast. Pyronoids contain protein besides starch. Some algae may store food in the form of oil droplet. Green algae usually have a rigid cell wall made of inner layer of cellulose and outer layer of pectose. Vegetative reproduction usually takes place by fragmentation or by formation of different types of spore. Asexual reproduction is by flagellated zoospores produced in zoosporangia. The sexual reproduction shows considerably variation in the type and formation of sex cells and it may be isogamous, anisogamous or oogamous. Some commonly found green algae are Chlamydomonas, Volvax, Eurothrix, Spirogyra and Chap. Phaeophyceae. The members of Phaeophyceae are or Brown algae are found primarily in marine habitat. They show great variation in size and form. The range from simple branch filamentous form ectocarpus to profusely branched form as represented by caves, which may reach a height of 100 meters. They possess chlorophyll A, C, carotenoids, and xanthophyll. They vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown depending upon the amount of xanthophyll pigment fucosanthin present in them. Food is stored as complex carbohydrate which may be in the form of laminarian or mannitol. The vegetative cell have a cellulosic wall usually covered on the outside by a gelatinous coating of algin. The protoplast contain, in addition to plastid, centrally located vacuole and nucleus. The plant body is usually attached to the substratum by a holdfast and has a stalk, the style, and the leaf-like photosynthetic organ, the frond. Vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction in most brown algae is by biflagellated zoospores that are pear-shaped and have two unequal laterally attached flagella. Sexual reproduction may be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. Union of gametes may be take place in water or within the oogonium. The gametes are pariform, pear-shaped, and bear two laterally attached flagella. The common forms are ectocarpus, dictyota, laminaria, sargassum, and fucus. Now, the third main class is Rhodophyceae. The members of Rhodophyceae are commonly called grade algae because of the predominance of the red pigment or phycoerythrin in them. Majority of the red algae are marine with greater concentration found in warmer areas. They occur in both well-lighted regions close to the surface of water and also great depth oceans where relatively little light penetrates. The red thylae of most of the red algae are multicellular. Some of them have complex body organization. The food is stored as floating starch, which is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. The red algae usually reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation. They reproduce asexually by non-motile spores and sexually by non-motile gametes. Sexual reproduction is oogamous and accompanied by a complex post-fertilization development. The common members are Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, and Geranium. Now let's discuss next point, that is Bryophyte. Bryophyte includes the various mosses and liverworts that are found commonly growing in moist shaded areas in the hills. Bryophytes are also called amphibians of the plant kingdom because these plants can live in soil but are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. They usually occur in damp, humid, and shaded localities. They play an important role in plant succession on bare rocks or soil. The plant body of bryophyte is more differentiated than that of algae. It is thallus-like and prostrate or erect and attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular body rhizoids. They lack two roots, stem, or leaves. They may possess root-like, leaf-like, or stem-like structure. The main plant body of bryophyte is haploid. It produces gamete, hence it's called gametophyte. The sex organ in bryophytes are multicellular. The male sex organ is called antheridium. They produce biflagellated antherozoids. The female sex organ called archegonium is flask-shaped and produce a single egg. The antherozoids are released into water where they come in contact with archegonium. An antherozoid fuse with the egg to produce the zygote. Zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. They produce a multicellular body called a sporophyte. The sporophyte is not free living but attached to the photosynthetic gametophyte and derives nourishment from it. Some cells of the sporophyte undergo reduction division to produce haploid spore. The spores germinate to produce gametophyte. Bryophyte in general are of little economic importance, but some mosses provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds, and other animals. Species of sphagnum, a moss, provide peat that have long been used as fuel and packaging materials for transshipment of living material because of their capacity to hold water. Mosses, along with lichens, are the first organism to colonize rock and hence are of great ecological importance. They decompose rock, making the substrate suitable for the growth of the higher plant. Since mosses form dense mats on the soil, they reduce the impact of falling rain and prevent soil erosion. The bryophytes are divided into liverworts and mosses. Liverworts grow usually moist shady habitat such as bank of stream, marshy ground, damp soil, bark of trees and deep in the woods. The plant body of a liverwort is thyroid, example Markensia. The thallus is ventral and closely approached to the substratum. The leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendage in two rows on the stem-like structure. Asexual reproduction in liverwort takes place by fragmentation of thalli or by formation of specialized structure called gymi. Gymi are green multicellular asexual bud which develop in small receptacles. Gymi in singular form called gymma. The gymi become detached from the parent body and give and germinate to form new individual. During sexual reproduction, male and female sex organs are produced either on the same or on different thalli. The sporophyte is differentiated into food, seta, and capsule. After meiosis, spores are produced within capsule and these spores germinate to form free-living gametophyte. The predominant stage of life cycle of moss is the gametophyte which consists of two stages. The first stage is protonema stage which develop directly from spore. It is creeping, green, branch and frequently filamentous stage. The second stage is the leafy stage which develop from the secondary protonema as the lateral bud. They consist of upright, slender, axis-bearing spirally arranged leaves. They are attached to the soil to multicellular and branch rhizoid. This stage bears the sex organ. Vegetative reproduction in moss is by fragmentation and budding in secondary protonema. In sexual reproduction, the sex organ Antheridia and Archegonia are produced at the apex of leaf shoot. After fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte consisting of the food, seta, and capsule. The sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than in liverworts. The capsule contains spores. Spores are formed after meiosis and the mosses have elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. Common examples of mosses are Funaria, Polytrichum, Sphagnum. Next point is Pteridophyte. The pteridophyte includes horsetails and ferns. Pteridophytes are used for medicinal purpose and as a soil blinders. They are also frequently grown as ornamental. Evolutionary, they are the first terrestrial plant possess vascular tissue, xylem and phloem. We shall study more about the tissue this in tissue chapter 6. Pteridophytes are found in cool, damp, shady place, though some may flourish well in sandy soil condition. We may recall that in bryophyte the dominant phase in life cycle is gametophyte plant body. However, in pteridophyte the main plant body is sporophyte which is differentiated into two root, stem and leaves. This organ possesses well differentiated vascular tissue. The leaves in pteridophyte are small microphyles as in Selengenilla, large microphyles as in ferns. The sporophyte bears sporangia that are subtended by leaf-like appendages called sporophylls. In some cases, sporophyll may form distinct compact structure called strawberry or cone. Example, Selengenilla equisetum. The sporangia produce spore by meiosis in spore mother cell. The spore germinate to give rise to inconspicuous small but multicellular free-living, mostly photosynthetic thyroid gametophyte called prothallus. The gametophyte require cool, damp, shady places to grow because of this specific restricted requirement and the needed for water for fertilization. The spread of living pteridophyte is limited and restricted to narrow geographical region. The gametophyte bears male and female sex organ called antheridia and archegonia respectively. Water is required for transfer of antherozoids, male gamete released from antheridia to the mouth of archegonia. Fusion of male gamete with the egg present in the archegonium result in the formation of zygote. Zygote thereafter produces a multicellular, well-differentiated sporophyte, which is the dominant phase of pteridophyte. In majority of pteridophyte, all the spores are of similar kind. Such plants are called homosporous. Genera like Selengenilla and Salvina spores are also known as heterospores. The megaspore and microspore germinate and give rise to female and male gametophyte respectively. The female gametophyte in these plants are retained on parents' sporophyte for variable period. The development of zygote into young embryo takes place within the female gametophyte. This event is a precursor of the seed habit, considered as important step in evolution. The pteridophytes are further classified into four classes: P. solopsidia, P. silatum, Lycopsidia, Selengenilla, Lycopodium, Spinopsidia, example Equisetum, Petropsidia, Diopetris, Petris, and Arrantium. These are the example. Gymnosperms, gymnos, neck, spermacids are plants in which the ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall and remain exposed, both before and after fertilization. The seed that develop post-fertilizations are not covered. For example, that are naked. Gymnosperms include medium-sized trees or tall trees and shrubs. One of the gymnosperms, the giant redwood tree Sequoia, is one of the tallest tree species. The roots are generally taproot. Roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza, pinus, while in some other cycles, small specialized roots called coralloid roots are associated with nitrogen-fixing cyanobacteria. The stems are unbranched as in cycas or branching pinus or cedrus. The leaves may be simple or compound. In cycas, the pinnate leaves persist for few years. The leaves in gymnosperm are well adapted to withstand extreme of temperature, humidity, and wind. In conifers, the needle-like leaves reduce the surface area. Their thick cuticle and sunken stomata also help to reduce water loss. The gymnosperms are heterosporous. They produce haploid microspores and megaspore. The two kinds of spores are produced within sporangia that are borne on sporophylls, which are arranged spirally along an axis to form blacks or compact stabili or cones. The stabili bearing microsporophylls and microsporangia are called microsporangiate or male stabili. The microspore develop into a male gametophyte generation, which is highly reduced and is confined to only a limited number of cells. This reduced gametophyte is called pollen grain. The development of pollen grain takes place within the microsporangia. The cone bearing megasporophyll with ovule or megasporangia are called microsporangiate or female stabili. The male or female cones on stabili may be borne on the same tree, pinus. However, in a cycas, male cones and megasporophylls are borne on different tree. The megaspore mother cell is differentiated from one of the cells of nucellus. The nucellus is protected by envelope and a composite structure is called ovule. The ovules are borne on megasporophylls which may be clustered to form the female cone. The megaspore mother cell divide meiotically to form four megaspores. One of the megaspore enclosed within the megasporangium develop into a multicellular female gametophyte that bears two or more archegonia or female sex organ. The multicellular female gametophyte is also retained within megasporangium. Unlike Bryophyte and Pteridophyte, in Gymnosperm, the male and female gametophyte do not have independent free-living existence. They remain within the sporangia retained on the Bryophyte, the pollen grain is released from the microsporangia. They are carried in a air current and come in contact with the opening of the ovule borne on megasporophylls. The pollen tube carrying the male gamete grows toward archegonia in the ovules and discharge their content near the mouth of archegonia. Following fertilization, zygote develop into an embryo and the ovules into seed. These are not covered. Angiosperm. Unlike gymnosperm, where the ovules are necked in the angiosperm or flowering plant, the pollen grains and ovules are developed in a specialized structure called flowers. In angiosperm, the seeds are enclosed in a fruit. The angiosperms are exceptionally large group of plants occurring in wide range of habitat. They range in size from the smallest olfea to tall trees eucalyptus over 100 meters. They provide us with food, fodder, fuel, medicine, and several other commercially important products. They are also divided into two classes, dicotyledonous and monocotyledonous. Okay, thank you.